I used to be a corrections officer, just trying to survive each shift. Then one tragic day, the warden's daughter was found assaulted and dying inside our prison. I watched in horror as he cradled her, whispering Daddy's got you for hours. From that moment, he unraveled. The trust we once had shattered. Now, Warden Brooks is confined to a psychiatric ward, screaming about justice in his sleep. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Before all this, I admired Warden Brooks. He handled a pest riot with strength and grace, saving lives without shedding blood. We bonded over being fathers. He even brought his daughter to the facility once, proud and gentle. I never questioned his choices, but he kept that Minnie Mouse watch on long after she died. It ticked louder than words. I shouldn't have known the cracks were always there. I just didn't want to see them. Brooks once told me, "This place eats good men." I thought he meant the inmates, not the walls. He confided in me after his divorce, saying the prison was his only constant. He looked more alive among concrete than at home. I thought it was duty. Now I see it was obsession. That watch he wore wasn't just memory, it was a trigger. And I helped load it. Every day I said nothing. After the funeral, Brooks was a different man. He slammed lockers, barked orders, and prowled the cell blocks at night. Flashlight off, justice isn't a report, he muttered once. I kept my head down, but the dread crawled in. Inmate Jeremiah became his target, pulled from his cell nightly. Rachel noticed bruises on my arms I couldn't explain. What are you part of, Colin? She asked. I lied, said it was training. But even my son looked afraid. One night, Brooks brought in a contractor, no paperwork. He said it was for maintenance, but that man never fixed a thing. He only visited the basement where Jeremiah was held. I heard screams muffled by concrete. Rachel found blood on my uniform and broke down. You promised me no more secrets, she sobbed. I stared at the floor, frozen. Lisa from her questioned the contractor, but her report vanished. Don't dig, she warned. Something twisted was brewing. Jeremiah stopped speaking. He stared through people, flinched at sounds. I tried slipping him a protein bar once Brooks saw. He dragged me into his office, locked the door. You pick a side, Colin, he snarled. His eyes were bloodshot, veins bulging. I nodded. Numb. Rachel said our son was having nightmares drawing bars and monsters. I wanted out, but I was already buried too deep. The prison wasn't a job anymore, it was a grave slowly closing around me. A guard named Pears tried reporting Brooks. Within days, he was reassigned to desk duty, then vanished. No farewell, no transfer notice. Just gone. His locker was emptied overnight. That's when I knew Brooks wasn't rogue, he had help. Rachel begged me to quit. They'll come for us too, she whispered. I started checking under our car, watching rear mirrors. The prison had eyes everywhere, and ears. I stopped calling my brother. I didn't want him tangled in this nightmare. The breaking point came during a lockdown drill. Brooks diverted power to the basement. No lights, no cameras, he told me. We finished this tonight. I followed him down, each step heavier than the last. Jeremiah was chained, barely conscious. Brooks handed me a baton, justice, he said. I stood frozen. He shouted he did this to her. My hands trembled. Then I dropped the baton. No more, I said. Brooks lunged at me, but I pushed him back. Something snapped. Brooks hit the wall hard. Blood trickled from his forehead, but he smiled. You'll pay for this betrayal, he hissed. I grabbed the keys and unchained Jeremiah. We're leaving, I whispered, but the elevator was dead. Upstairs, alarms blared. Someone had triggered the real lockdown. Brooks crawled toward the intercom. I stomped his hand to stay down, and Jeremiah clung to my side. Confused and limping, we used the service stairs, each echo a threat. I felt like a fugitive in my own uniform. At the admin hallway, 2 guards blocked us. One raised his baton. I showed my id and lied. Inmate medical emergency. Warden's orders. They hesitated. Then Rachel's voice cracked through the PA system. This is Rachel Fitzgerald. Colin's not rogue. He's saving a life. The guards faltered. I pushed through, dragging Jeremiah. Outside, floodlights blinded us. A van screeched up. It was Lisa, face pale, hands shaking. Get in, she said. For the first time in weeks, I exhaled, but it wasn't over. Lisa drove fast, her knuckles white. I knew he was unhinged, she muttered, but torture. We reached a safe house she'd prepped off-grid, stocked. Rachel arrived with our son. He clung to me, asking, did you beat the monster? I couldn't answer. Lisa handed over files, copies of Brooks' orders, missing reports, even contractor payments. We leak this, she said, or burn it all. I stared at the firewood pile beside me. Truth or silence, justice or safety. The line blurred completely that night. We leaked the files anonymously. Within days, the prison was under investigation. But a reporter contacted Rachel, asking about a pregnancy test found in our trash. It wasn't hers, it was our nanny's, and she had ties to Brooks. The realization gutted me. Brooks had infiltrated our home. He'd used the nanny to monitor us, maybe manipulate our son. Rachel blamed me. You brought this into our lives. She shouted. The betrayal wasn't over. It had just changed shape. The nanny vanished. Police questioned neighbors, but she's left no trace. Lisa found an old visitor log. Brooks had approved her months ago. He'd planted her from the start. I felt sick. Our home. Our son all watched. Jeremiah confirmed. She whispered to him at night, tell no one, or daddy gets hurt. My hands shook. Rachel locked herself in the bathroom. I heard her crying, then silence. That night, our house stopped feeling like home. It became another cell. Jeremiah wasn't the only one tortured. Files revealed 3 other inmates marked exempt from logs, all young, all isolated. Least traced one to a psychiatric ward, unverbal, unresponsive. His brother confirmed the warden's name triggered panic. I realized Brooks wasn't seeking justice. He was replicating pain, replaying his daughter's trauma through strangers. I asked Lisa, why keep them off record, she said. To rewrite the ending. That's why I understood. Brooks wasn't punishing the guilty, he was chasing a different outcome. We dug deeper. Rachel discovered Brooks had forged therapy records, painting himself as a grieving saint. He even paid actors to pose as counselors. One clip showed him sobbing, clutching the Minnie Mouse watch, ranting about time reversing. The investigators believed it until we found the raw footage. Lisa edited it side by side, fake versus real. The comparison was damning. The system hadn't just failed, it applauded him. Truth had been a performance, and we'd all been part of the audience. A red envelope arrived at our door. Inside was a child's drawing stick figures in a prison. One figure held a baton. It was labeled Daddy. The message, you lied. My son hadn't drawn it. No signature, no sender. Rachel panicked, insisted we leave town. Lisa warned against running. They want fear, she said. But I knew this was personal. Brooks might have been locked away, but his reach hadn't ended. His legacy breathed through those still loyal. We weren't free yet. Lisa traced the drawing to a mailroom clerk at the prison, a Brooks loyalist. When confronted, he laughed. You can cage the man, but not the myth. He had a hidden cache of Brooks memorabilia, letters, Photos, even audio recordings. One tape was chilling. Brooks describing how corruption is just order misunderstood. It played on loop. We handed everything to investigators, but I couldn't shake the feeling we hadn't buried the monster. We'd made him immortal. Truth doesn't kill legends, it feeds them. Rachel left for her sisters, said she needed time. You chose a war, she whispered. We never wanted martyrs. I watched her drive off. Our son asleep in the back. Lisa stated we keep going, she said. But I didn't know where forward was. That night, I replayed Brooks' tapes, trying to understand. One phrase stood out: if justice won't bleed, it's mercy wearing a badge. I smashed the recorder. Some truths aren't meant to be archived, they're meant to die. Investigators clear me officially. Said I'd acted under duress, but online, the story twisted. Corrupt guard exposed warden. Comment sections boiled. He was part of it. Too little, too late. Rachel texted once we're safe, no call. Lisa offered to move. I declined. I couldn't flee what I'd become. I wasn't just a whistleblower, I was the echo of every scream ignored. Brooks haunted me, not with ghosts, but with memory. Justice had no winners here, only survivors counting scars. A letter came from a psychiatric ward. It was from Brooks' scrawled handwriting. Smeared ink colon, it read, you saw me, you know why it had to happen. No threats, just a drawing, his daughter holding hands with Jeremiah. A caption balance, I burned it. Lisa asked if I wanted to press charges. I said no, some wars aren't won in court. Theirs survived in silence, but that word balance stayed. Was that all justice ever was? A scale tipped by grief. Rachel returned after 3 weeks. No big speech, no tears, just her suitcase and our son's favorite toy. We start fresh, she said. We moved into a small coastal town under new names. I took work fixing boats. Jeremiah smiled more, but one night he asked, is Brooke still watching? I lied, said no, then checked every window. Truth never really dies, it lingers. Quieter maybe, but sharp. And some legacies don't need names to breathe, they need only silence. Lisa visited once a month, always bringing updates. Brooks had stopped speaking entirely, just stared at walls. But staff reported he smiled when the name Colin was mentioned. It's not over for him, she warned. I nodded. But part of me already knew. He wasn't waiting for revenge, he was waiting for relevance. That's the curse of men like him, they rot louder than they ever lived. And I wasn't sure I had the strength to keep forgetting. One morning, Jeremiah brought home a school essay, my hero. He'd written about me, about saving someone, about being brave when afraid. I read it alone in the garage, hands trembling. He didn't mention Brooks, didn't mention prison, just said, my dad doesn't let bad people win. I broke then, cried for the first time since the basement. Maybe I hadn't erased the monster, but I'd blocked his shadow from my son. Maybe that's what justice really means, a shield, not a sword. A podcast picked up our story. Lisa warned me before it aired. They called it The Watchman's Fall. I listened secretly. Narrator coldly described my silence. Brooks' rise, the horrors hidden under fluorescent lights. But they missed something, the cost. They didn't hear Rachel's sobs, or see Jeremiah flinch at shadows. Truth's not just data, it's damage. I turned it off halfway. Some stories shouldn't be told for entertainment. Some truths demand reverence, and I wasn't ready to share mine. Rachel lit a candle one night, for the girl, she said. We stood in silence, Jeremiah between us, no prayers, just breath. I remembered her, the warden's daughter, pink jacket, quiet eyes. She never had a voice in any of this, just a roll, a trigger. And now, a memory, Rachel said. We keep her name out of it, I agreed. Let others tell their versions. But in this house, she wasn't fuel, she was a loss, not a headline. Brooks died quietly, stroke. The report said. No visitors, no ceremony, just a line in the state ledger. Lisa texted, it's done. I didn't feel relief, just emptiness. Rachel said, let's bury the watch. We drove to the coast, dug a shallow hole by the cliffs. I placed it inside, still ticking. Jeremiah asked, is the monster gone? I said, he's where he can't hurt anyone now. As we walked away, I felt lighter, not healed but maybe no longer haunted. Lisa retired early, said the system felt poison now. She moved inland, opened a bookstore, sent us photos of her cat, her shelves. Rachel smiled for the first time in months seeing them. Jeremiah drew a picture of us by the sea, no prison bars, no shadows, just sunlight. He labeled it safe. I hung it in the hallway. We still lock our doors, still flinch at sirens, but that picture reminds me survival isn't silence, it's choosing peace every single day. Sometimes I sit by the shore, watching waves erase footprints. It helps. I hold Jeremiah's drawing, edges worn soft. The watch is gone, but it's ticking echoes. I don't seek justice anymore, just quiet. Lisa says that's healing. Rachel calls it progress. I just call it breathing. We survived, and some days, that's enough. Other days, I need the ocean to remind me. Jeremiah asks fewer questions now. He's making friends, learning to swim. Rachel and I still share long silences, but they aren't hollow. They hold understanding. I've started journaling. Nothing profound, just moments. A seagull, a kind stranger, a night without nightmares. I write them down like prayers, each line a small defiance against the past, a choice to remember life, not just survival. Lisa once asked if I'd testify again. I said no. Not because I'm afraid, but because the truth is out there now, in whispers, in records, in lives rebuilt. My voice isn't the only one. It never was. And that's the point. Justice isn't just a verdict. It's the echo of people who keep choosing light even when no one's watching. The prison was shut down. Dean Darity Mabum. New oversight laws passed. Lisa helped draft them. Anonymous but impactful. Rachel joined a local support group for survivors' families. I attended once, listened more than spoke. One woman thanked me. I didn't know what to say. But that night, I slept without reaching for the lamp. That's what justice became, not punishment, but prevention. Not rage, but reform. We didn't erase the past. We rewrote the future's rules. Jeremiah's school held a play about heroes. He played a lighthouse silent, steady, guiding others through storms. Rachel cried. I stood and clapped louder than anyone. Maybe that's who I am now, not a warrior, not a victim, but a lighthouse. Bruised, unpolished, still standing. Brooks is gone. The watch is buried. The silence has weight. But it no longer crushes, it just reminds. And maybe that's enough. Maybe peace isn't perfect, it's persistent. And we earned it. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe to check out more stories on my channel.